Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Let me tell you, tonight has been an interesting night. When I tell you I have had technical difficulties on top of technical difficulties, I don't know what to tell you. But all I kept saying is, devil, you a lie. For those of you that don't know, I am Deborah Franklin. I am the host here at Conversations Deborah Franklin, as well as the founder and CEO of Church Girl CEO. Y'all, we have been talking about, for motivational moment today, I am walking in it right now. When I tell you I have been in here for the past 2 hours putting this show together, making sure the lights were right, making sure the cameras were right, making sure the microphone was right. Then we get ready to go live and everything crashed. I said, devil, you a lie. Because you know what? One thing that I do know, the word for this season is pivot. You might not be able to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, or how you want to do it. But just so you know, God is putting you in a position to pivot. You are going to be able to change it on a dime. You are going to be able to get something done right when you least expected it. You are going to be able to get something done and you didn't even plan it that way. You're going to put all these plans together. You're going to have it all set up, all nice and pretty, but something that you're going to have to be able to pivot. And I said that to say, normally I've always been that firm believer of saying, hey, plan A is plan A. There is no plan B. Don't even come at me with a plan B, because plan A is plan A. But now you're going to have to make sure that you have prepared yourself to pivot. And I'm not saying that you got to go in thinking about it, but be ready to pivot and then be okay with the pivot. Don't get discouraged during this time and this season of having to pivot, having to make changes, having to step out in faith and really be able to walk in who you are. Don't get discouraged because the people that you're hanging around start to fall off. Don't get discouraged because you went to turn on your technology and it didn't work. Don't be discouraged that the dates that you put in place and God said do something else, because it's just like when you have to go back home in the morning. Have you ever went through this, like, oh my God, I'm running late, and then you forget something, you got to go back to the house. But because you went back to the house and you went, and then by the time you got back to where you were going, there was a major pileup or a major accident because you had to pivot, because God is setting you up for something that you don't see. It's a test of faith. It's a test of your wherewithal. It is a test for you to move forward in what you've been called to do, because you have to be ready for the pivot. You have to be ready. Oh God, thank you. Just like Gideon thought he was going to have an army of 3,000, and God said, that ain't what you're going to take to win this battle. See, a lot of y'all think that you got to have a lot of people to get something done. And then he gave specific instructions. And that's another thing. In this season of having to pivot, in this season of having to make adjustments to the plan, you have got to be ready to change. You have got to be ready to know that you don't have to take all 3,000. You may only need 300. You may only need 2. You may only need one person to help you see that next level that you are going to. You only need what God puts in your purview. Because when we are called to things, God is like, He's not going to call you to it if you can't go through it. He's not going to give you a vision without provision. Now, the thing is, we want to put limitations on God. We want to put limitations on the provision. We think that, oh, you ain't give me this money, or this person didn't help me go to the next level. They don't have to, because God is getting ready to connect you with the people that you need. And the thing is, the people that God is getting ready to connect you with are not going to look like what you expect. They're not going to talk like what you expect. They're not going to dress like what you expect, but it's who God wants you to be. Because sometimes God puts people in your life and in your sphere because they will do what you can't do. I always said, for those of you that don't know, I've taught ministers in training, and one of the ministers, she was like, she'd be like, oh, I go into the crack house, I'll do that. I said, no, baby, that ain't my ministry. I'm not doing it. But that's her ministry. She had a ministry to people that did that. I'm not built like that. And it's okay. And that's why you have to have a circle of friends and people on your team that can do some things that you can't do. There are certain areas that I just don't fit. But if you're teamed up with somebody that knows your vision, knows your heart, they'll be able to open the door or be able to help you get into the door that you need to be able to get through because they know the terminology. Just like a young lady that I'm working with right now. She was like, okay, let me look, we're going to have to train you. So when we go into this meeting with this bank, you say the right thing. And I was like, oh, hey, I got a degree to talk. What you trying to tell me? I don't know what to say. But that's where we mess up. Don't get caught up in what you think you know and start teaming up with people that do know. So that way you'll be able to walk in a way. So now when I go in, I got the training that I need to be able to talk to the bankers and be able to get what I need for my nonprofit. I'll be able to do some things for Church Girl CEO Foundation that I would have never thought about doing. Yeah, I can dress the part, look the part, but if you don't say the right words or have the right paperwork, you still jacked up. So you still got to have those right people in your sphere. You still have to have those right people in your circle, in your community. And again, what does that mean? You got to pivot. You've got to pivot. You got to pivot your mindset. You got to pivot what you're doing. You got to pivot where you are. You cannot go into this thinking the same way, doing the same thing, showing up the same way. You have got to show up different and do what you've been called to do because you are destined for greatness. You are destined for the outcome that you've seen in your dreams. You are destined for the destiny that was prophesied over you. You are destined to move in areas that you never thought that you could move in. You are destined to sit at the table with kings and queens and make decisions. You are destined to not only sit at the table, but to create your table. And that is what happens when we pivot. And when you pivot in your mindset, because some of us are still stuck in that poor man mentality. No, your taking time might be right, but we never see ourselves at the next level. I admonish you and I challenge you. Start seeing yourself at the next level. Start seeing yourself shopping at some of the boutiques. Start seeing yourself shopping and doing things that other people that the other people do. Start thinking about, hey, I might be in a 4-bedroom house. Why not have a 6-bedroom? Why not have a 3-car garage? Start seeing yourself in those areas and watch how God starts to move and take you to different levels like never before. Mm-hmm. But all right, guys, I love you to life. And we getting ready to have a word from our sponsors. And we're getting ready to have our guest. Baby, she is in the building. She is ready to come on, talk about her new project. I'm so godly proud of her. She is a beast. So we got a word from our sponsors. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. A word from our sponsors. This show is here because of them. We got pre-sale. Tina Nims was on in last shows. Her pre-sale starts for her new single on January the 18th. My Faith, My Fight. Y'all, that thing is fire. If you missed last week's show, you need to go catch it while it's still up because that song is fire. And then it'll be available on all digital platforms starting February the 4th. And then Church Girl CEOs meet and greet in Atlanta, Georgia, February the 26th. That time is changing. I think it's probably moving down to like around 12, but we'll still leave the 11 a.m. And if you have any questions or need to find out anything, you need to register. Most of all, you need to definitely go to churchgirlceo.org for any information that you need about the meet and greet, anything that's coming up. Make sure you go to churchgirlceo.org. Then, of course, if you would like to book yours truly, go to Church Girl CEO, fill out that booking form because we are accepting dates. I am an author, speaker, and a publisher, and most of all, I am a life coach. So if you need a speaker, Hey, go ahead and call your girl. I am I am here and ready to work with you and your organization. Well, all right, guys, let's get ready for our special guest. She'll be right up in just a second. Y'all just don't even understand. I am so excited. All right, guys, we'll be right back. Hello, Miss Tracy.
Hello. I'm super excited to be here. How are you tonight?
Baby. Yeah. Woo, honey. Woo, child. I am good. It's just been one thing after another, but it is good. It is
Pivot.
real with my soul. How are you this evening?
I am excellent.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna be having full disclosure. Tracy said all the stuff that was going on, we couldn't get things loaded up. I seen her, didn't see her picture. We had to go back, recreate things. And she said, you know what? If I wasn't okay, I would be really stressed out right now. What does that mean? No, she said if I didn't believe,
I'll be really
I really
discouraged.
And you know what? That's right what we're talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about believe. We're going to be talking about what does it mean to believe? What does it mean to have the faith to believe, not only in others, but most of all in yourself? And that is the one space I feel like most of us are lacking, and that is believing in ourselves. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and have her introduce herself to you guys, letting you know who she is, what she do, and there you go.
Great evening, everybody. I am Tracy Shorter. I am founder and CEO of Tracy Shorter Enterprises, where we house, of course, right now, Shorter Route Travel and the Believe Vision Academy. So, under Shorter Route Travel, I help people plan wonderful vacations and experience the world through travel. And through the Believe Vision Academy, I help my clients believe in their visions, believe and enjoy life like never before, using 7 principles that God gave me out of one word, believe. And we're going to talk about that, and you're going to learn a lot more about that tonight. I can guarantee you this, that when you see the word believe, you hear the word believe, you're never going to look at it the same way.
Well, all right. There we go. Y'all, that is, I when I first heard her talk about the believe, I mean, so we met in an interesting kind of situation. I always joke about it, but God has a way of letting you connect to people, and that you just don't know what they're for. You don't know why you're connecting with them, but you have to look at them and be like, "Oh my God, that is like a God connection." And so, what does believe mean?
Well, believe is 7 principles that back in 2016, I'll just give you some backstory. I experienced an unexpected medical forecast. And life sometimes happens to you fast. I've been an entrepreneur for over 15 years, but I was running my business and grinding like most people do because I'm doing it. God was not my business partner.
Ooh.
So this was I was a sole proprietor, and so I was solo doing this by myself, and I was getting solo results. Now, when life hit me at this time, he had given me the word believe 2 years prior, but once that situation happened, he broke it down for me in another way. So 7 principles formed, and so those 7 principles are the B, to be yourself. The E was empowerment. The L was to live life now. The I was it's possible. The E, the second E is encouragement, vision, and enjoy life. Now, there's a lot that goes into these seven principles, and all of these principles can be applied to anybody. For me, I was comparing my business and why things weren't happening for my business and the way it was happening for other people, because in all reality, the business structure was not authentically Tracy. I was trying to structure it like somebody else because Tracy didn't know Tracy.
Ooh,
So
whoa,
that's where the B.
whoa. So you like you
I know that's a
right
hard pause.
right. Because you know I got to jump in on that one. So it's like what you just said was so powerful, and like we oftentimes think about we don't think about our businesses as an extension of ourselves, and we don't understand that if we're not healed, our businesses can't be healed, and if
Mhm.
we don't know who we are, then our businesses definitely can't be anything. So, what made you realize that you weren't who you were supposed to be in your business? That you weren't there.
Well, like I said, I realized that life can change, and you cannot be here in an instant. And I didn't want to. I had a second opportunity, and so with that second opportunity, I needed to do some things differently,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to figure out exactly the mask had to come off.
Woo!
When I actually tell people this, and people who know me, they all go, I would have never known you had self-esteem issues. I would have never known that you weren't confident in yourself. I would have never known, because when I left home, I was dressed up and made up. So when I got into the world and got into the street, I could play the game. I could say the right things, I could do the right things. But when I got behind closed doors, the doubt hit, the unbelief hit, the how am I going to do this hit, the crying hit, the all of those things. And plus I could do it for other people. I could make other people's dreams come true, but I never believed the dream was possible for me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that right there was like, be yourself, but you can't be yourself when you actually don't know what you like, when you're used to people pleasing.
Ooh.
So as an event planner, my job title was to be sure that my clients were pleased, be sure that they were happy.
Uh-huh.
But to the extent that they were so pleased, I had no idea what pleased me,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
No, that
So
makes
that's
a lot of sense because so many times in life we operate in the realm of we cheer everybody else on, but we don't know how to cheer ourselves. I know you've heard me say this several times. I operated as a cheerleader, but I mean, we can operate as a cheerleader, but now it's time for us to operate as the quarterback. Because if you think about it, and y'all know I don't even like, I am not even a big sports person, but this sports analogy just messed me up because if you think about the quarterback's job is to throw the ball and make the ball move down the field. But he has a whole line of defense.
mm-hmm.
And when you don't know who you are, your line of defense might be people that are moving out the way so the other team can hit you as opposed to defending you. And when you don't know yourself, that opens it up just for that. So how did you start to get the people around you that you needed?
One, I had to one it became more with my own first self-love,
Mm.
uncovering, you know. Now when people say, I was asked a question, yeah, this week, who am I today? Because so many times we carry titles, you know, titles of mom, carry wife, sister, friend, all of that. And so somebody asked me this week, said, who are you today? I said, I am a woman who loves herself and who likes herself, but most importantly, I love myself and know who I am now. I know that I'm worthy of the things that God has told me and promised me, on top of the fact of being a wife and mother and all of those other titles, CEO, all of those things. But most importantly, I honestly like myself and love myself for just me.
That's amazing because
Height, height and all, weight and all of it. all of it,
Awesome.
all of it. So I had to begin to love and like me first. So first I had to spend some time with myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it became a lot of journaling, a lot of truth telling for myself, not necessarily with other people, and then taking some risk and stepping out there and actually uh, being a little bit selfish and saying that it's okay to do some things for yourself, and figuring those things out, because I thought I did not like the beach. Well, I would tell everybody I didn't like the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Now technically I really don't like the beach, but the reason I was saying that I didn't like the beach is because I couldn't swim and I couldn't partake in what everybody else was doing at the beach. So I would make the excuses of why I never wanted to go to the beach. So it was always excuses. So then I started to say, well, I'm going to learn how to swim. So I'm going to figure out, is this something I really don't enjoy, or wasn't an excuse that was keeping me on the sideline and not
Mm.
in the game?
Wow.
Because I was on the sideline of some things. So I didn't know if I really enjoyed it or not, because I had not experienced it. I wouldn't allow myself the opportunity to do it out of fear.
But don't we get caught up into that as people as a whole? A lot of times you'll hear people say, "Well, I don't like that. I'm not going there. I can't do this." But then when you talk to them, like, you've never tried it. So
Never did.
how can you say what you don't like or can't do if you never tried it? And I even say that when people are getting ready to start their businesses and they start to want to market themselves. "Ooh, I can't talk on camera. How am I do that?" Well, how you expect for people to know who you are? In this age of digital format, everybody has to be able to do that. So, in those experiences, and now we're talking about believe and we're talking about journaling. How important is journaling for you? And it also leads us to what the project that you're getting ready to drop in a couple of days. So, how important is journaling to you?
You know, it's I think it's vital. People say that I can't journal, and I know it's oftentimes very difficult to sit down and just get started. You don't know what to write. You don't know what to say. So listen to me. First project, did you hear that? This first project. So this project that that's coming in the next week
Mhm.
is called the Believe and Rediscover Yourself 31-Day Journal. Now this journal is very different than most journals that you see. It's not a journal of blank pages where you just sit down and you just write what's on your mind or what's on your heart. This is a self-guided journal. So this is a journal that, although this is the way I begin to uncover some things about myself. So the journal is designed where I share very transparently 31 short stories about my life, different things, different scenarios of each of these particular 7 principles, and where I was in that particular season related to that particular principle. And then I ask you a question, and then you answer the question related to the question that's answered. And then there are action steps that take you to the next step. So, self guided, we're going to be on the journey together. You're not left alone. We sit down and what write what, because it's hard to do that for some people. For me, there was so much there. I just started writing, but I oftentimes hear people say, I don't know what to write. This is a way to awaken the thoughts.
Mhm.
Once those thoughts are awakened, then you can begin to see what's next and what principle out of the 7, because all 7 may not apply to you, but there's one principle out of those 7 that I feel like would apply to everybody. And I love the fact that it's 7, because 7 means complete. And so these particular principles, I apply them to my life in every area, from business to personal, so that I can be a complete person, happy, whole in every way.
Absolutely. And if I must say so myself, the journal is a the bomb. And you said at least one principle, but I beg to differ. I think everybody can relate to all the principles, especially when you start. I think my favorite one was when you said about it's like the making time for yourself and travel. What was that?
Enjoy life. It's a
Enjoy
vital,
life. Yeah, yeah.
it's a vital part of the journey. And that one is huge for entrepreneurs because we just work, work. Most entrepreneurs I talk to, I ask, what is your self-care plan? And there is not one. What is your vacation plan? And there is not one.
My self care plan is being able to go downstairs, sit on the sofa, and watch TV.
And so actually, I decided that I'm starting to create trips that are only for entrepreneurs because we have to recharge. You have to have that time to actually reconnect, not just with yourself, but with the people that's most important for to you. Why are you doing what you do? We're doing this for family, for legacy. But if they don't spend time with us, what?
They're not going to
We
value it.
haven't we they haven't created a memory. The memory that we're leaving them is really not the memory that's going to keep them warm when we're gone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing that you were talking about is that even with what I like is that everything, now this is where we're getting ready to cross over a little bit too, is that everything, even though she is an entrepreneur, she has a Believe journal. She has several streams of income, but those streams of income are connected. And a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we feel like I got to sell a phone. I got to sell hair grease. I got to sell TVs. I got to sell chicken grease. And it's like they're not all connected. So, how easy was it for you to connect your businesses together to basically streamline them into one entity?
Well, um, when you believe in something,
Mhm.
and to be honest, this is a mandate that this is my life. So it's not even hard for me because I talk everybody that knows me, I talk about it in every place. This word is in every part of the house. I wear it every day. So it wasn't hard because whatever business, it's just like when you say getting up to go to work, and when you get up to go to a job that you love to do, it's easy to do. And
Mm,
so it was easy to say, of these two businesses that I currently operate, one is for the travel component, which that was huge for me because that's my self-care and I got a chance, I'm getting a chance to see the world.
mhm,
And two, with the Vision Academy, it's talking to people like I am now and letting them understand and helping them to understand that time to take a pause, to
mm.
not just keep living life robotically, but there's a way that you can still accomplish your goals and have the best of both worlds. Who says that we can't? Yes, we can. It's just in how we do it. So it was actually not hard at all. Thankfully, the connections with some great people. I met some wonderful ladies through Church Girl CEO who've helped me stay focused. I think that is very important. But most importantly, well, I told you at the beginning, I was solo doing everything.
Mhm.
I made God my business partner. So to believe, I now had to trust him.
Ooh.
And so some things had to, when things don't, I was very much a control person. I had a plan, and especially as an event planner, I planned everything out. So there is no deviating from the plan. This is the plan. We're gonna go by my timeline, and that's what we do. So now, though, when you make God your business partner, you're leaning on that trust to Him. That if you have to, as you said tonight, pivot, that the pivot is much more greater. The outcome of the pivot is much more greater than what you originally planned in the beginning because you trust your business partner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've heard that term before, make God your business partner. And a lot of times we think that the word ministry does not overlap into our businesses, but it does. And it's like when we start to think about, okay, so let's say real transparent moment. We went through a process with Church Girl CEO during where we did the Lydia anointing for our businesses. A lot of
Mhm.
people's like, Lydia, who is that? Exactly. Because you have not read the scripture and realized that business owners are in the Bible. But most of all, she was a female business owner. And
Mhm.
so many times we don't realize and take hold to that. And then because we all say, well, if you did it for Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay, that's fine. But they were men. What woman
What
can
woman?
can so stand up and you can be amazed and awed at what she's doing? And Lydia is definitely one of those. What was your greatest experience with your business and believe when you start to really look at the Lydia anointing?
Oh, I mean, it's so ironic you say that because there was so much that I didn't know about Lydia until we actually did that 21 days, and to know that she was, because I'm very much a worshiper, and so I try to keep my business
Mm,
and ministry, because I'm also a leader in ministry, so I kept my business and ministry separate. They were never together.
mm-hmm,
So when I saw all of the characteristics, worshiper, homeowner, all of all these different characteristics, I was like, man, I never knew, like a lot of people, that there was. I had heard of Lydia, but I had not known the in depthness
mm-hmm.
of Lydia. So it was encouraging to me, and it was further proof that I used the phrase that God's word is my promise. So
Mm-hmm.
if that's God's word, then it was for Lydia. Then that's the same promise that applies to Tracy. It's the same promise that applies to Deborah. And people, it's the same promise that applies to you. It's no respect of person. It's not just men, it's women, it's whoever. It's but we have to there's the proof. It's in his word.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. And so knowing that and getting more connected and having that relationship. And I think that's what's happened with this pandemic. For me,
Mm,
the time, the time I've been able to prepare. I've been able to prepare more and connect more. So that now as we're beginning to come out of things, especially in the world of travel, I'm actually more prepared than I was when before the pandemic
mm-hmm.
hit.
Absolutely. And then you said something that was really key because so many times as African Americans, they were always telling us, these are the black people in the Bible. Okay, that's fine. But I have no problem with you showing me the people of color that were leaders. But can you please show me the women? How important is it for women entrepreneurs to stand up and be that guiding light for other women entrepreneurs?
Oh, it's huge. And as and even as African American, I what I don't like is we have the tendency that people say crab mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know what I mean all buckets of crabs in a barrel, and you're crawling over each other's.
Mm-hmm.
But the crabs haven't gotten the revelation that if the crabs would use their claws and connect together and
Uh-uh.
allow one crab to
Teaching,
crawl
teaching.
out of the barrel and
Uh,
bring the rest of the crabs out, everybody can get out of the barrel and nobody has to be cooked.
ah, that part. Because
But we
we must.
crawl over each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important because not only is it just us, but there's another generation behind us.
Oh,
So
yes.
what are we doing to that generation? Now see, some of us are stubborn, some of us are stuck. So to me, I want to grab the youth, these young folks, these young people behind us, because see, they're yet bendable. They ain't as stuck. I'm
Right.
sorry, adult people that are listening on live, but they're not. It's
Exactly.
stuck. And grab them and mentor them. They need to know that yes, you can go to college, you can get a trade, but you can also own something that is your own. There are multiple streams of income that you should be looking at, not just a job, not just one
Absolutely.
thing.
Absolutely. Because the day of being on a job for 20, 30 years, retiring and getting that gold pen are over. You have again got to be ready to pivot because the pandemic has taught that to us as well. Because you had some people, oh my God, education had one of the biggest pivots. You had to go from being in front of people live to start teaching them all on video. But what I thought was funny, I was already ready because I had already started doing virtual conferences or virtual meetings via Zoom anyway. So that's how I ran my business. So for me to make that pivot, I was like, hey, hey, this is good. So, that's why it's important, especially as leaders in ministry and in our businesses, for us to take hold and know that our skills are they cross. Now, that's not saying that you got to walk up in there with your Jesus pen or your WWJD bracelet or, your Bible in your hand and talking in tongues in the meeting. That is not what I'm saying. Because if you do that, they're going to think you crazy anyway. So, unless everybody in there believers, and then they're going to be like, look here, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. But that's why you got to be able to know how to handle yourselves and be educated. How important is it for women entrepreneurs to be open to different ideas? Like even when it comes down to travel, everybody want to go to Cancun. Everybody want to go to Jamaica. Why should we be ready to travel to more distant lands, not just the hub spots?
You know, most of that is mindset of the actual ability and the possibilities that is possible for us. We want to do the things that we feel that we can personally feel like we can do, not
Mhm.
even knowing that God is helping you go to Cancun just like he's helping you go to Paris. And we don't understand, we haven't connected with that there are ways to plan out those trips. There are
Mhm.
ways to plan out those trips. And it's really mindset. I got the opportunity to see the Eiffel Tower, and I never thought that I would actually. It's totally mindset. It's
Mhm.
what we tell ourselves. The very first thing you think when you have a negative thought, this is one of the exercises that I do. When I have a negative thought in my mind, the very next thing I tell myself is the thing that you're going to operate in. Try it. So if I tell myself I can't do something, then that's exactly what is going to happen. But if I tell myself I don't know how to do this, or the next question is, but who can help me?
There it is.
That is what I'm going to seek out. That
Mhm.
is the very next thing that's going to happen. So I've been able to see the Eiffel Tower. I've been to Barcelona, Spain. I've been to all these different places. I'm getting ready to go to Bali and to Dubai this year. So it's so many things. It's mindset and writing books and done 3. And so getting ready for the next one. So the mindset shift, but it's all in what we believe for ourselves.
Mhm.
It's all in what we believe. It's just like if you tell your children or you tell your partner or whatever, I love you,
Mm.
then your actions behind that
That
indicate,
part. That part.
the actions behind that indicate, I love you, they gonna believe I love you.
Mhm.
But if you say I love you and you do nothing to indicate or to show that love, how are they supposed to believe that?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
what you believe and what action you put with that is what is going to happen. And so for me, I chose to make a change. And
Mhm.
if I'm the only one, and I'm not the only one in my family, but if I was going to be the only one, I was going to show them that I was going to do it because I deserved that opportunity. I deserve what God promised me. I
Absolutely.
was worthy of it, and He wanted me to have it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't want to be here, leave this earth full, full of all the stuff I'm supposed to do, and I leave here and it's just still there. So
And
I just decided that that was it. It was time to. I didn't want to do. I didn't want. I ain't see myself sitting here with you on Thursday night.
girl,
uh,
we're not gonna even go there because I ain't doing this.
yeah. I didn't see myself doing that, but here I am,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all because of that one word, and it's all because of the actions that I applied. And I'm gonna tell you, I am living my best life ever. And it's not about the money, because the money's coming, but it's
Absolutely.
not about the money. I'm happy. I'm sleeping better. So many things are so much better. Even though we're working through the health challenges, my life is better. Overall, everything is so much better because I believe.
And that is amazing. And that brings us right to what you are dropping in the next couple of days. Tell them what you're dropping. I'm
So
going to give you full screen. Tell them what you're dropping and how they can get a copy.
so I am dropping my 31-day Believe and Rediscover Yourself journal. If you go to my page, my personal page on Facebook, that's Tracy Dabney Shorter. You can get your copy there, or you can go to bit.ly Believe Journal 2022, and you can purchase a copy there. Pre-orders are available on Facebook. Um, and this journal, I'm telling you, is going to really change your life. It's not a journal where you just sit down, figure out what you need to write. I actually take you on a journey. I take you on a journey to rediscover your true self, rediscover some things that you need to change in your life, or some things that you desire to change in your life, some things that's going to make things better. We walk through some unforgiveness. We walk through who you are, who you really are, who you need to desire yourself to be. And then, of course, how to create those self care plans, because you definitely need to take care of yourself. So, seven principles allowing you to be complete, full, and whole. Believe you'll never see it the same after you go through this journey with me. Tracy Shorter, I've enjoyed being with you guys. Deborah, thank you so much for the opportunity. I look forward to the next time. Part one, we're going to do it again.
All right, y'all. I'm so excited about this, and we're getting ready to launch out into the deep and do the doggone thing. And if you also want to meet Tracy live and in person, you got to come on down to the Church Girl CEO meet and greet
Oh, yeah.
February the 26th. She will be in the house. You'll be able to get autographed copies of her book as well as talk to her. She is also a contributing writer. See, she was being all modest. She's also a contributing writer for the travel section of the Church Girl CEO magazine. So when I tell you Church Girl CEO is doing the doggone thing, they are doing the doggone thing. We are out there, we are out and about, and I look forward to seeing you here live in Atlanta for our official meet and greet and magazine and Church Girl CEO launch into the world, because we are like Peter. We asking Jesus, can we walk on the water? And we already hear him saying, come on, my child. But the difference between us and Peter, we know who to call on when stuff gets going crazy. And the other thing that we are different than Peter, we promise you, we are not going to take our eyes off of the rabbi, because we see Jesus and we're going to keep our eyes on him, that we will not fall in despair. Well, all right, guys, I love you to life, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Make sure that you go over to our YouTube channel, like us, share us, and y'all, we just need to hear from you, because we just want you to be in the place. And if nothing else, y'all have a great evening, and we will talk to you later. Peace.
Bye, y'all.